Sylvia Plath's The Bell Jar tells the story of a young woman's descent into mental illness. Esther Greenwood, a 19-year-old girl, struggles to find meaning within her life as she sees a distorted version of the world. Esther is a promising scholarship student with a lavish life and opportunities in New York City. However, she feels restless with this and not fulfilled. She doesn't quite know what is wrong with her, but she knows it's something. Through Esther's thoughts and experiences, you are to witness a young woman's descent into a spiral of depression and suicidal thoughts, which leads to her odd behaviors. In Plath's novel, different literary elements, themes, and symbolism are used to explain the mental downfall of the book's main character, such as cutting her off from others, forcing her to delve further into her own mind, and casting an air of negativity around her. The most iconic image, however, is the fig tree that troubles protagonist Esther. Plath uses images of rotting fig trees and veils of mist to convey the desperation she feels when confronted with her issues of the future. The tale of the fig tree is based on the Garden of Eden biblical story, where the tree symbolizes gender conflict. A hopeless relationship between a nun and a Jewish man is outlined in the novel. Ironically enough, Esther creates a parallel in her life with her relationship with Buddy. Is also doomed when she says, quote, "It seems Buddy and I were like the Jewish man and that nun." Plath, page 55. She points out that although Buddy and her both attend church, they might as well be practicing different religions because of their highly opposed views on gender roles. As far as symbolism is concerned, the tree signifies the considerations that Esther will encounter in her life, because she can only choose one fig. However, she wants to choose every one of them. She tells to us, quote, "I saw my life branching out before like the big green fig tree in the story. One fig was a husband and a happy home and children, and another fig was a famous poet, and another fig was a brilliant professor, and another fig was the amazing editor. I couldn't make up my mind which figs I would choose. I wanted each and every one of them, but choosing one meant losing all the rest, and as I sat there, unable to decide, the figs began to wrinkle and go black, and one by one they plopped to the ground at my feet." End quote. Plath, page 77. Plath undoubtedly referred to the tale of the fig tree to describe how society is preventing you from doing what you aspire to accomplish. Yet in regards to society, it will be too late to grow and flourish throughout your life if you allow them to manipulate your mindset of life. The theme of death and birth consequently go hand in hand with transformation, in terms of development within Esther and the theme of the novel. For instance, Esther condemns death to whatever she despises about herself, in essence to be reborn into something exempted from self-doubt and dread from a conformist future. It demonstrates how Esther is not particularly seeking to end her life, but to end something more complex, such as her depression and self-doubt. In itself, when Plath metaphorically compares Esther's thoughts of suicide to her rebirth, it shows how Esther desires transformation in her life. As Esther's depression worsens, however, Plath stresses how Esther feels as if she has no sense of identity. This is seen as Plath uses motifs throughout the story, such as the use of mirrors throughout the book, in order to demonstrate Esther's effort to recognize her reflections, which she frequently fails to identify. Esther alleges that after spending an evening with Doreen and Lenny, quote, "I noticed a big, smudgy-eyed Chinese woman staring idiotically into my face. It was only me, of course," end quote. Plath, page 19. This in itself illustrates how Esther is unable to perceive her own reflection. This reveals how Plath seeks to construct the constant battle by which one undergoes to maintain the appearance one portrays to the world synonymous with one's own self-image. Therefore, the tendency of Esther, unable to recognize herself in the mirror, shows the difficulty she has with finding herself. Therefore, Plath creates a parallel between the mirror motif and the fig tree, as the mirror illustrates her present mental state and the fig tree as her future physical state. The personal crisis and motif serves to prove that one of the most serious complications of finding yourself in a culture that strives for a conventional woman's image with traditional molds. It is for this reason, nonetheless, that Esther began to struggle with her health and identity. This novel is set during a 6-month period in the life of the protagonist. The year is 1953, 10 years before the book's first publication date. The narrator announces at the beginning of the novel that it is set in the summer in which the Rosenbergs were executed in New York. It begins with Esther doing an internship in New York City. She soon goes to her hometown in the suburb outside Boston, where she attempts suicide. Much of her time is then spent in a psychiatric institution. Esther's German heritage strengthens the isolation she feels with her peers in society since America is greatly affected by the victory in World War II. This is a hard one for me to review, but what I can say is that this is a book I will cherish in my heart. This book is relatable to those who have experienced depression and my feelings of not knowing what to do, feeling lost, inadequate, and defeated. Sylvia Plath has put forth immense works towards the bell jar to give voice and grievances and the struggles of women. Through diction, in which she utilized in order to shed light on the complications of trying to transform and grow in a restrictive society, she uses persuasive imagery, allusion, metaphor, symbolism, and other literary elements to further her theme and the idea of the novel. The Bell Jar is a thought-provoking, amazing book that I encourage everyone to read at least once. The bell jar, in my drawing, symbolizes mental illness and gives the novel its title. It is Esther's own metaphor for describing what she feels while suffering her nervous breakdown. The tree on top represents the fig tree, which is one of the symbolisms which is in the book. Thank you.